everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the very first haul of 2022. I got a bunch of books around me and I got a short timeline, so let's go through this. We're gonna start off with these four. I added the entire box set of Malice by John Gwynne, or I guess The Faithful and the Fallen is the proper terminology here. I added the entire box set to my shelves and to my TBR because I read The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne and immediately was like, I need everything he has ever written. So I got the entire Malice box set because I trust him with my life. I decided, you know what? We're just gonna do it. And I'm very excited to own these and to, you know, eventually read them. I am part of the way through Malice, so these will be read at some point. Next up, I got an ARC from HarperCollins, which was Blood Scion by Deborah Falahi, and I have read this and I really enjoyed it. It is dark, it is brutal. All the trigger warnings. It follows a girl who basically becomes a child soldier, and there's really cool magic in this and all this kind of stuff. It's great, you guys should read it. I gave this one 4 stars. Next, I did an order off of a discount site and got 3 books, which were the Helm of Midnight, which is, I believe, a like horror-y fantasy book. I could be very wrong. That's literally all I know. And I know that Reagan from Prue's Project absolutely loved this, so that's why I picked it up. And then I also have a translated work called A Hero Born, which is by Jin Young, and it is the first book of the Legends of the Condor Heroes, which is apparently a wonderful, wonderful Chinese epic. So I'm ready to read this. And then I also got the sequel to Chilling Effect, which is Prime Deceptions by Valerie Valdez. So this just continues the fun space antics with cats in space, because it's amazing. Then I ended up going to Indigo and I picked up 2 books, and I ended up getting The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, which I read and really liked. If you guys missed my very first dual book review video, this was featured in it with one of the books also that I'm going to talk about today. Very cool Pirates of the Caribbean vibe with ships that are made out of dragon bones, so very cool. And I also picked up the Rune of Kings by Jen Lyons, which is a fantasy series and book that I've been seeing all across the internet for a long, long, long time, and I figured I might as well finally give it a try, because it's, yeah, I will read anything with dragons. I will read anything with dragons, as you guys well know. Next up, I hauled Dune by Frank Herbert, which I have also read, and it was featured in my Friends Pick My TBR Take 3 video, which was very recent on my channel, where I read this. I gave this 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it, and I picked up this specific version because the version that I had previously was like really, really tiny, and like the text was really small on the page, and there wasn't enough room to actually annotate anything, and y'all know I love annotating my books, so I picked up this version because much easier to annotate through, for sure. That same day that I picked up that one, I ended up picking up Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is the paperback of a middle grade that I DNF'd last year because I was listening to it on audiobook and I felt like it just wasn't catching me, so I figured this is probably going to be better if I physically read it at a different time. So I picked up the physical book because it is absolutely beautiful and I want to really love this, so I will read it eventually. I now have it on my shelves. Next up, I picked up 2 books, which are the first and the second in the Finley Donovan is Killing It series. I have read the first one and I am so excited to read the next one. And I just absolutely love these covers. They are stunning and I love it. This is a very fun crime, literary, fun, witty novel series. And I love it so, so much, where Finley Donovan essentially is a writer in the first book who is down on her luck, and she's a single mom, and her ex-husband is threatening to basically take her kids away, and she's got no money, and she ends up accidentally getting roped into being a hired killer. Very fun. Very fun, and just the perfect amount of absurdity in my life that I needed. Next up is a book that I don't actually have with me, but it is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I don't have it with me because I lent it to my friend, and y'all know this has been my favorite read of the year so far. I am so in love with it. Y'all have no idea. I love it so much. It is a soft stakes high fantasy novel about an orc and a succubus who end up opening up a coffee shop in a place that doesn't even know what coffee is, and it's just beautiful and I love it so much. I give it 5 stars. Amazing. Next, I'll talk about this next order that I did, and on that train of Travis Baldr's soft fantasy, I went on a search for more soft fantasy that I'm so excited to read, and so I have the first Dragonlance novel, which is called Dragons of Autumn Twilight by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, which I'm very, very excited to read. I also have the second of the Marie Brennan books. This is very hard to see in this lighting, apparently. This is the Tropic of Serpents, and I have read the first one previously many, many years ago, and I enjoyed it, but I feel like I will enjoy it more now that I know what to expect going into these kind of books, because they are totally not what I was expecting. They are essentially like a Jane Eyre vibe of a memoir, but with a lady who goes on scientific trips to study dragons. Like, it's so cool. And then in that same order, I picked up the omnibus Mercedes Lackey's Tarma and Kethri series, which is the Honor and Vows and Honor trilogy, because I've heard that this is also wonderfully, wonderfully soft fantasy that I want to sink my teeth into. So amazing. Next up, I hauled this big old boy that I am nervous to read, and that is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, because my friend picked this for book club. Why am I nervous about it, you may ask? Because some of this book, where's a really strange page? It's a visual experience. I don't know. I'm nervous to read it because I don't know how I'm gonna be, if I'm gonna even be able to understand it, but like, it's a visual experience. So, friend picked it for book club though, so I will have to read it eventually. Next up, I got another order. So this is, I really need to stop buying books. This is what hauls do to me every time. They're like, Jen, you need to stop buying books. But anyways, I picked up from this discount store one of my favorite books from 2020 that I didn't actually own, and it is The Light Between Worlds by Laura E. Weymouth. This is essentially like what happens to the kids after they come back from Narnia, and it is brutally sad and just so beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. In that same order, I also picked up Forrest Born, which I have not yet read, but I'm excited to because I've seen this cover everywhere on social media, just in ads and just in people's pictures, because it's beautiful, and I'm really, really intrigued as to what it's about. So I'm going to read that eventually. And then I also picked up the sequel to The Last Watch by J.S. Dowes, which is The Exiled Fleet, and I'm very excited, like just ridiculously excited to get into the sequel because I loved The Last Watch, so pumped. And then I also picked up these two just the other day. I ended up picking up the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and I also picked up One for All by Lily Lineoff, and I'm excited about both of these. This one more so because this is a gender-bent Three Musketeers retelling where the main character has pots, and I'm very excited to read it. It sounds amazing, and I've been following the author on socials, and she's very, very cool. And then I also picked up the Atlas 6 because this book is just absolutely stunning, and I'm intrigued to see how Tor, the publisher, has made this better, because I've heard a lot of things about the self-published version that like the plot or the pacing is off, so I wasn't like super intrigued by it. But now that Tor has picked it up and they have said that they've run it through some revisions, I'm intrigued by this book now, and it's just beautiful, so that's why I picked it up. This was really just a cover buy and an intrigued by the fact that TikTok has taken over my life, so there's that. And then I also have a few of my pre-orders that I've made that have come into me. So the first one is Temple of No God by H.M. Long, which I have already read and absolutely adored. This is the companion sequel to Hall of Smoke, which you guys know is one of my favorite fantasy books of all time, and this has quickly made it onto that list. It is just beautiful. I adore Hannah's world building so friggin' much. It's just amazing. Then I actually hauled and have since unhauled Daughter of the Moon Goddess, so I will mention that. Or it hasn't yet left my place, but in my head, it's no longer on my shelves and no longer part of my life, because you guys know I hated that book. So that one got a 1 star, but the book is beautiful. And I'm giving it to a friend to read to see if she likes it more than I did. Then I ended up getting the pre-order of The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan, which I absolutely loved. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave this like 4 or 4.5 stars. So, so good. Brutal political fantasy that has elements of like The Witcher in it. Really, really cool. And the character arcs in it, wow. Then I also got my pre-order for Scorpica by G.R. McAllister, which is a like queendom-centered fantasy, and I have yet to read it, but I'm going to very, very soon. And then the last book that I have hauled onto my shelves, and through a pre-order especially, is Gallant by V.E. Schwab, which I'm so excited to own, and it is just beautiful. And I had to get the signed version because, I'm just in love. And it's hard to tell, but there's like an image here of a tree, which is cool. I'm very, very much in love with this little book. And it's weird because it's like square. It's square. Like if you look at it, compared to everything else, it's square. Very strange. I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by all the books that I have since hauled and read. Out of all the books that I have hauled onto my TBR, which I don't know how many it is, I've read 9 of them. So, and that number actually includes Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So 8 of the ones that I'm actually keeping on my TBR for now. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books or if you are currently eyeing them for your own TBR, because I would love to know. Make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps me out as a creator, and I will catch you in another video very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.